There comes a moment in life when you realize you are not like everyone else. You try to fit in, but something sets you apart. You walk into rooms and feel the weight of unseen battles pressing against you. You speak, and your words carry an authority you cannot explain. You endure storms that should have broken you, yet somehow you keep rising. People misunderstand you, isolate you, and even oppose you, yet deep down, you know this is not a mistake. It is a sign. There are those who live ordinary lives, untouched by deep struggles, unbothered by great resistance. But then there are those who carry something different, something dangerous, an anointing that disrupts, a purpose that shakes foundations, a calling that invites warfare. If you would have ever felt like your life has been marked by battles that seem unnatural, if doors have closed on you only for greater ones to open in impossible ways, if you have endured suffering that makes no sense, you need to understand this truth. You are not just chosen, you are dangerously anointed. This kind of anointing does not come without a price. It isolates you, it stretches you, it forces you into battles that you never asked for. And yet, despite the hardships, you cannot deny that something greater is at work in your life. You survive things that should have destroyed you. You carry a strength that does not come from you, and no matter how many times you feel like giving up, something inside you refuses to quit. This is not an accident. This is a sign that God has placed something within you that is meant to shake the world, a sign that your struggles are not meaningless, but preparation for something greater. And if you recognize these signs, you must understand, you are not just anointed, you are dangerously anointed, and that changes everything. Unrelenting opposition is a mark of those who are dangerously anointed. It is not the kind of resistance that comes from ordinary struggles, no. This is something deeper, something relentless, something that does not rest. It follows you, lurks in the shadows, and strikes when you least expect it. The moment you begin to walk in the power of your calling, opposition rises like a storm against you. It is as if something unseen has been watching, waiting, plotting against your destiny. And in truth, that is exactly what it is. When you are anointed, you become a target. It is not your talent that makes you dangerous. It is not your intelligence, your wealth, or your charm. It is the fire inside you, the undeniable, unshakable presence of something greater than yourself. And the world, both seen and unseen, recognizes it. Enemies form where there were none before. People you trusted turn against you. Situations that should be simple become complicated. Every step forward feels like a battle, as if something is trying to stop you from reaching where you are meant to go. This opposition does not come only from external forces. It comes in whispers, in doubts, in fears that try to creep into your mind. It comes in the form of exhaustion, in the temptation to quit, in the weight of burdens that feel too heavy to bear. It is not a single event. It is a pattern, a constant pressure, a war that rages around you and within you. And the closer you get to fulfilling your purpose, the more violent the opposition becomes. History tells the same story. Every man or woman who has been marked for something great has faced resistance that defies logic. Look at those who have changed the world, those who have shaken kingdoms, those who have brought truth where there was only darkness. They did not rise without struggle. They were hunted, mocked, betrayed. Some were thrown into pits, some into prisons, some into exile. Some faced accusations they could not defend against. Others were attacked by the very people they tried to help. This is not a coincidence. This is a pattern, a law as old as time itself. You may have wondered why your life has been so difficult, why nothing comes easy, why every time you step forward something tries to pull you back. If you were ordinary, you would not face this. If you had no calling, there would be no need for resistance, but you do. You are chosen, and that makes you dangerous. The opposition is not proof of failure, it is proof of destiny. The storms that come against you do not come to destroy you. They come to confirm that you are on the right path. But this is where many fall. This is where many turn back. They think the hardship means they should quit, that the resistance means they are not meant to continue. But that is the lie. That is the trap, because the moment you stop, the moment you surrender to the weight of opposition, the enemy has won. The truth is, The greatest victories are on the other side of the greatest battles. The fiercest opposition comes before the breakthrough. The enemy fights hardest when it knows it is losing. And the only way to overcome is to keep moving, to keep standing, to refuse to break. There will be times when you feel alone, when the weight of the opposition is unbearable. You will question why you were chosen, why you must endure this war. But understand this: the fire that surrounds you is not there to consume you. It is there to refine you, to make you stronger, to prepare you for what is coming. Because once you have withstood the storm, once you have walked through the fire and not been burned, you will emerge as something and that is what the opposition fears most. Isolation is one of the clearest and most painful signs of being dangerously anointed by God. It does not happen by accident. It is not a phase or a random occurrence. It is a deliberate process, a necessary stripping away of comfort, familiarity, and even companionship. Those who carry a great calling often find themselves walking alone, not because they want to, but because destiny requires it. The process begins subtly. People who once understood you no longer do. Friends who once walked beside you start to drift away. You try to explain your journey, your vision, your purpose, but the words fall on deaf ears. You are no longer relatable. Your presence unsettles some, intimidates others, and confuses the rest. Invitations stop coming. Conversations become shallow. You begin to feel like a stranger in rooms where you once belonged. And then the isolation deepens. It is frustrating. Then it becomes painful. The silence around you grows heavy. You watch others enjoy the company of friends, the comfort of belonging, while you stand apart, unseen, misunderstood. It is not just loneliness, it is separation. And the worst part, you cannot even explain why it is happening. You question yourself. Have you changed? Have you done something wrong? Why does it feel like you are being pushed into a wilderness with no way back? But this is where the truth begins to unfold. The wilderness is not a punishment. It is preparation. You are not being abandoned. You are being set apart. Great anointing requires great separation. The distractions must be removed. The noise must be silenced. The false attachments must be broken. Because when God anoints someone for something dangerous, He takes them through a process that strips them of every dependency except Him. Look through history and you will see it again and again. Before greatness, there is always a season of isolation. Before David became king, he was alone in the wilderness, tending sheep, learning to fight lions and bears when no one was watching. Before Moses led a nation, he spent years in the desert, away from everything familiar. Before Jesus stepped into his ministry, he was led into the wilderness, fasting, praying, facing the weight of his calling alone. This is the refining fire. This is the place where your spirit is strengthened, where your ears are trained to hear the voice of God without the interference of the world. The isolation is not about punishment, it is about transformation. It is where you learn that you do not need the validation of men, where you are stripped of pride, fear, and every illusion of control. Many resist this season. They try to run from it, to force relationships, to chase after the comfort of belonging. But those who are truly anointed embrace it. They understand that the isolation is temporary, but the strength gained from it is eternal. And when the season finally shifts, when the doors finally open, they emerge unshakable, ready for the battle, prepared for the calling, and more dangerous than ever before. Supernatural endurance is a mystery that surrounds those who are dangerously anointed by God. It is not just strength, it is something beyond human capability, a force that keeps you standing when everything around you is designed to make you fall. It is the ability to withstand pressures that would crush an ordinary person, to survive battles that should have destroyed you, and to keep moving forward when logic says you should have given up long ago. This endurance is not natural. It cannot be explained by sheer willpower, motivation, or even personal resilience. It is something placed inside you, something that rises when the weight of your calling becomes unbearable. You do not even understand how you are still standing. The betrayal should have broken you, the failure should have discouraged you, the pain should have left you paralyzed, and yet you rise again and again. The journey of those who carry a great anointing is filled with hardship. This is not an easy road. It is marked by suffering, by trials, by long seasons of pain. You will experience loss of friendships, of opportunities, of things you once held dear. You will walk through fire, through rejection, through moments of complete despair. And yet, in those moments where you feel the weakest, something within you refuses to surrender. You wake up, you move forward, you keep believing even when doubt tries to suffocate your faith. Look at those who have walked this path before. The greatest warriors, the ones who left their mark on the world, were not the ones who had the easiest lives. They were the ones who endured. They suffered humiliation, false accusations, imprisonment, even exile. But they endured, not because they had some special talent, not because they had more support than others, but because something supernatural carried them through. People will look at you and wonder how you keep going. They will see the weight you carry and expect you to collapse under it. They will wait for you to break, but you will not. It will not make sense to them. They will assume you are strong, but you know the truth. It is not your strength. It is not your power. It is something beyond you, something that refuses to let you quit. There will be days when you want to give up, when the exhaustion is unbearable, when the trials feel endless. You will wonder if you are making a difference. You will wonder if it is worth it. But in those moments, something will remind you, this is bigger than you. The reason you are still standing despite everything is because your purpose is not yet complete. The reason the storm could not drown you, the reason the fire could not consume you, is because you are anointed for something greater. And no matter how many times you fall, you will always rise. Because that is what happens when you are dangerously anointed. Unexplained favor and unusual miracles follow those who are dangerously anointed by God. This favor is not earned, nor is it something that can be logically explained. It appears in ways that defy human understanding, opening doors that should remain shut and positioning you in places you never imagined. It is not because of who you are, but because of what you carry. The anointing on your life attracts divine interventions, opportunities, and supernatural breakthroughs that others cannot comprehend. People will look at you and wonder why things seem to work in your favor, even when circumstances suggest they should not. They will see you walk into rooms where you do not have the qualifications to be. They will watch as opportunities find you, as resources come to you when you least expect them, as connections are made in ways that no human effort could have arranged. It is not luck. It is not coincidence. It is the mark of someone carrying a dangerous anointing. This favor often comes in the most unexpected ways. You may be overlooked at first, rejected, even pushed aside, but then suddenly the very people who dismissed you will find themselves needing you. The very doors that were once locked will swing open without explanation. You may find yourself in positions of influence, not because you sought them, but because you were placed there. These moments are not random. They are orchestrated by a higher power. A war between flesh and spirit is one of the clearest signs of someone dangerously anointed by God. This battle is not external, it is deeply internal. A constant tug of war between who you are called to be and the temptations, doubts, and weaknesses that try to pull you away. The greater the anointing, the greater the warfare within. It is not just a struggle with sin or morality. It is a conflict between divine purpose and human nature, between destiny and distraction, between the higher calling and the weight of worldly desires. This battle is relentless. One moment you feel strong, focused, and completely aligned with your purpose. The next, you are overwhelmed with thoughts of unworthiness, frustration, or exhaustion. It is not random. It happens at crucial moments. When you are on the verge of a breakthrough, when you are about to step into a new level of purpose, when you are preparing to do something significant, suddenly, everything in you resists. Doubt creeps in, the mind starts questioning, the heart starts wondering, the flesh starts craving comfort, validation, or relief from the pressure. This war is dangerous because it does not always come in obvious ways. It is not always an outright attack. Sometimes it is subtle. It is the temptation to take the easy way out. It is the desire to silence the calling because it is too heavy to carry. It is the exhaustion that makes you want to settle for less than what you were created for. It is the whispers that tell you no one understands, that the opposition is too strong, that you are not strong enough. Every person who has carried a dangerous anointing has fought this battle. Some overcame it, some were consumed by it. The struggle between flesh and spirit is not one that disappears with time. In fact, the more you grow in anointing, the more intense the battle becomes. The stakes are higher, the distractions become more appealing, the desire to give up becomes stronger. This is because the enemy does not fear those who are comfortable. He fears those who are stepping into their power. The battle between flesh and spirit is not meant to destroy you, but to refine you. Every moment of struggle is an opportunity to grow, to strengthen your spirit, to learn how to master the things that try to master you. The greatest warriors in history were not the ones who never struggled. They were the ones who learned how to fight. They were the ones who learned to recognize the tactics of the enemy, to discipline their minds, to rise even when they felt weak. You will always feel the pull of the flesh. You will always have moments where your mind, your emotions, and your desires try to rebel against your purpose. But the difference between those who walk in their anointing and those who fall away is this: the ones who fulfill their calling are the ones who refuse to surrender to the battle. They press through, they endure, and they master the war within. A message that disrupts is one of the most undeniable signs of someone who is dangerously anointed by God. When you carry this kind of anointing, your words are not ordinary. They do not simply inform or entertain, they shake foundations, unsettle minds, and provoke change. You do not speak to make people comfortable. You do not deliver words that simply affirm what they already believe. Your voice carries weight, authority, and a force that cannot be ignored. It is not something you manufacture. It is something that flows from within you, something that you often cannot even control. The words of the dangerously anointed are not always welcomed. In fact, they are often resisted. People may admire you at a distance, but when you begin to speak the truth that cuts through deception, discomfort arises. Those who once walked with you may begin to distance themselves. Some will accuse you of being too harsh, too intense, too radical. They will try to silence you, not because your words are wrong, but because they expose things they would rather keep hidden. The truth is disruptive. It does not settle into complacency. It does not coexist with lies. It challenges, it convicts, it calls for a transformation. This is why those with a dangerous anointing are often misunderstood. You may not even intend to stir conflict, yet your presence alone causes a reaction. You can sit in a room and say nothing, but something about you makes people uneasy. They can sense the weight of your calling, and it either draws them in or pushes them away. This disruption is not about seeking controversy. It is not about being argumentative or trying to prove a point. It is simply the nature of the anointing on your life. You see things others do not. You speak what others refuse to. You challenge systems, beliefs, and mindsets that are deeply ingrained. And this makes you dangerous, not to those who seek truth, but to those who benefit from deception. Look at history. Every person who carried a powerful anointing had a voice that disrupted. Prophets were hated for delivering messages that the people did not want to hear. Leaders who were chosen to bring change were opposed, attacked, and even persecuted. They were called rebels, troublemakers, disturbers of the peace, not because they sought destruction, but because they carried a truth that could not be ignored. When you are dangerously anointed, your words will not just echo in the minds of those who hear them, they will stay with them. Some will be drawn to you because they recognize the truth in what you speak. Others will resist you because they fear what your message requires of them. Either way, you cannot go unnoticed. You cannot blend in. There will be moments when you are tempted to soften your words, to make your message more acceptable, to avoid the discomfort of confrontation. But the anointing on your life does not allow you to dilute the truth. You may try to hold back, but something within you will push you to speak. The words will rise in you like fire, demanding to be released. And when they come forth, they will not just be words, they will be weapons, tearing down lies, breaking chains, and awakening those who are ready to hear. This is why the dangerously anointed are both loved and hated. They are sought after and avoided. They are honored and despised because their words are not neutral. They require a response. And whether that response is acceptance or rejection, the fact remains, once you have spoken, Things cannot remain the same. The truth has been released, and it will do its work, whether people like it or not. This is the weight of the calling. This is the burden of carrying a message that disrupts. It will cost you relationships. It will cost you comfort. It may even cost you your reputation, but it is also what makes you unstoppable. Because when your words are not your own, when they are fueled by something greater than yourself, nothing can silence them. They will go forth, they will accomplish what they were meant to, and they will leave a lasting impact that no force in this world can erase. The journey of the dangerously anointed is not easy. It is marked by unrelenting opposition, deep isolation, supernatural endurance, unexplained favor, an intense war between flesh and spirit, and a message that disrupts. Every great calling comes with a great cost, and those who carry a divine anointing must walk a path that few can endure. But this journey is not meant to break you. It is meant to refine you, to strengthen you, and to prepare you for the impact you are destined to make. You are not ordinary. The battles you face, the struggles that seem never-ending, and the weight you carry are not random. They are proof of who you are, of the power within you, of the purpose ahead of you. The storms are not there to destroy you. They are there to reveal you. The isolation is not rejection. It is separation for elevation. The opposition is not a sign of failure. It is confirmation that you are on the right path. No matter how hard the journey gets, no matter how many times you feel like giving up, remember this: you were chosen for this. The fire inside you is stronger than anything that comes against you. Stand firm, keep moving forward, and embrace the anointing you carry. The world may not understand you, but you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out, to disrupt, to transform, and to walk in the fullness of your calling. Good luck on your journey, and may you continue to walk boldly in your purpose. Thank you for embracing the power within you and for daring to be dangerously anointed. The world needs you now more than ever. Stay strong, stay faithful, and never stop moving forward.